So Nusantara, we completed an IPO in August 2017 where we raised $16 million towards the development of the Awak Mas Gold Project in South Sulawesi. Obviously in the last week, Sulawesi's been very heavily on the news, and the tsunami and earthquake that happened in Sulawesi has occurred on the west coast of the limb that we have our project on, which is on the west coast. So I'd like to really extend from the Nusantara team our thoughts and prayers to all of those that have been involved in that disaster and those that have lost family and friends. It has been quite a devastating event for Sulawesi and Indonesia. When we did the IPO, we had 4 very clear objectives, and now we are some 14, 15 months since the IPO, and we've really ticked all of the boxes of that work. We said we'd increase the mineral resource. We started the IPO with a mineral resource of 1.74 million ounces, and recently we announced an upgrade of that resource to 2 million ounces, having completed 11,000 metres of resource drilling. And all that resource is now at 89% at the indicated category. We wanted to make sure we could secure the contract of work, and in March this year we signed an agreement with the government of Indonesia that locked in secure title to the tenements to 2050, some 33 years away, and it also locked in that we had no requirement for any divestment of the project to Indonesian parties for 10 years. So that provides very strong investment security. We said we'd complete a DFS, and that DFS was completed very recently, and this morning we announced the DFS, and I'll talk firmly about that as we go through the presentation. But the DFS really confirms that the Awak Mas project is technically, socially and financially robust. It generated an IRR of over 20% and generates, I think importantly, free cash flow every year of about $39 million. And finally, we said we'd get going with exploration on the contract of work, and I'll talk further as we go through, but essentially not much exploration has been done outside of the known deposits for 18 years. So we've got that exploration underway. So where's Awak Mas today? Well, it's now development ready. We've got all the approvals in place. So obviously the next stage for us is to start work on seeking a strategic partner to help support the development of the project. And whilst we focus on that work to secure a partner and funding options, we're very heavily focused on accelerating exploration given the huge potential that we have for additional mineralisation. So I'm going to show a video. It goes for about 3 minutes, but it does a better job explaining the project than I do, and then I'll add some more flavour as we do the rest of the presentation.
The island of Sulawesi in Indonesia is home to numerous mining operations. The Awak Mas Gold Project lies 45 kilometers by road from Belopa, the capital of the Luwu Regency in the South Sulawesi province. The project is surrounded by local gardens and villages. The closest major city is the capital of South Sulawesi, Makassar, a modern city of more than 2 million people. Nusantara's contract of work was reaffirmed in March 2018 with the government of Indonesia. It covers an area of almost 14,500 hectares of non-forestry land and allows for a 33-year operation and production period. The contract of work has no divestment requirement until the end of the 10th year of production, providing long-term investment security and tenure. The Awak Mas Gold Project has an ore reserve of 1.1 million ounces of gold within a mineral resource of 2 million ounces. In April 2018, an 11,000-metre resource drilling program was completed over the Awak Mas and Salu Bulo deposits, which confirmed the geological model. The drilling program highlighted the potential for resource expansion of Awak Mas, Salu Bulo and the corridor between the two deposits. The contract of work area has significant exploration potential, with a number of brownfield prospects already identified in the mine and east corridors. The planned mining operation at the Awak Mas project will use conventional open pit methods. The pit has a low strip ratio and ideal geotechnical and hydrological conditions, resulting in a low-cost operation with the ability to mine from multiple pits. Ore will be processed by a conventional whole-of-ore leaching circuit, delivering gold recoveries of more than 91%. Clean tailings will be delivered to an engineered storage facility. The project is enhanced with access to good local and regional infrastructure, such as stable grid power, processing water, ports, and an airport, which will provide significant benefits for the rapid development of the project. The project's permits are in place, and Nusantara is developing the project on the basis of high environmental standards, with extensive baseline studies being completed. The Awak Mas Gold Project will provide significant employment and business opportunities for the region. Nusantara is also focused on implementing social development programs to improve education, health, and social well-being for the local communities. Under the ownership of Nusantara Resources, the Awak Mas Gold Project is set to become a technically robust, long-life and low-risk gold mine, providing benefits to its shareholders and local Indonesian communities.
Beautiful. So the video gives you a good overview. This deposit was first discovered in about 1988, so it's had a number of owners, and we're very happy that we've been able to take this project all the way now through to DFS and get it into a position that we can now develop it. The project's got, I think, some very good key drivers that allows us to get this project in such a low-cost position and a long life. It's obviously got 11-year open pit mine as a base case, so that's not a bad start for a DFS. Production is around 100,000 ounces a year. I've already talked about the financials, but also the ASIC is around 760 ounces US. And as I said, it generated around $40 million a year of after-tax cash. As I said before, approvals are all in place, so we're ready to go with construction, which is important. And if everything goes on plan, we'd target production in 2021. Through the DFS, we identified options to increase the NPV, and I'm going to talk about some of those. And the project is driven by a really significant exploration potential. So if you look at this slide, this compares Awak Mas to Asia Pacific projects that have had a reserve announced but aren't in development phase. And Awak Mas firmly compares very well against our peers. So we see that this project stacks up well and is obviously in a great position to be funded for development. So the DFS came back with some very strong financials, NPV of $152 million US. But through the DFS, we identified through complex modelling and conditional simulation that as we move the project from indicated to measured, we expect to see a grade uplift. And that grade uplift, we've kind of modelled. We all need to do more drilling and technical studies, but that modelling really confirms that we should expect to see around $45 million extra uplift in NPV. And it's not unusual for epithermal gold deposits to have that higher grade or core factor as they go through into production. We've also identified through the drilling program extensions at Awak Mas and Spreadborough, and even if they just generate a 3-year extension to the project, that brings forwards another $45 to $50 million of NPV. So this project where it sits now is very leveraged to our ability to continue exploration and grow the resource, and that results in significant uplift in NPV and value. Oops. So with exploration, we've divided the COW into 3 areas. The blue area is the near mine, so that's the priority area. That's an area within 3 kilometres of the processing plant. So obviously any identified resources in that area has high value to us because it becomes very quick mill feed. The brown area is the brownfields area located around Tara. Tara itself has a 100,000 ounce resource. Wasn't included in the DFS because it's still in inferred category, but around Tara is other prospects that were discovered in the past. And the top and bottom of the COW in green has not seen any exploration done at all. So over this 14,000 hectare COW, there's a lot of ground for us to cover with exploration. And there's been no serious exploration for 18 years within this COW. So between AWAC Mass and Salabulu, this is a section that shows the two deposits. We've already identified extensions to the eastern part of AWAC Mass, and we made announcements earlier in the year for that. That extension surprised a lot of people because there's been a general theory that the AWAC Mass deposit was concrete, it didn't have any extensions. And likewise at Salabulu, we've found extensions to the west. So we're a firm believer that between these two deposits, there are repeat structures and repeat mineralisation zones that over time through drilling will be able to extend the known pits for both AWAC Mass and Salabulu. And in the near mine area, 18 years ago there was a number of prospects that were discovered. We've now commenced a whole series of work on surface sampling and trenching. And as you can see here with the grades, and they're all in the announcements and things like that, so you can see the tenure of the grades of these surface areas is higher than the surface tenure of AWAC Mass. So that bodes very well for the future. The dotted lines show the extent of those prospects on the ground, and some of those prospects are around 1,000 metres by 800 metres, so they're quite large. What is also amazing is at Salikombu, for the first time on this project in outcrops, we've sampled copper. So our exploration program just in the near mine area is already developing a significant potential for further work. And clearly this is our potential for the rest of this year to develop these prospects in a position so that we can go drilling. But this is very attractive to us within 3 kilometres of a processing plant, the possibility of repeat satellite deposits like Salabulu. The story doesn't end there. The system has had a number of geophysics surveys, and we've recently dusted those off and had them reprocessed. Importantly, that work is showing to us that there is a high coincidence between the mineralisation that we're seeing and the magnetic highs. So this information is going to be used for us to help target our geology. The other important stuff for us is it reaffirms that this is an epithermal hydrothermal system and that it is based on intrusives. So that helps us narrow down our exploration focus. You can read it in the announcements, but our contractor or consultants that are doing the geophysics work have clearly said to us that they see that the COW is analogous to the Waihi goldfield in New Zealand, which is a multi-million ounce goldfield. So we see a great goldfield developing here of over 5 million ounces. We do need to talk about Indonesia. We always think of Indonesia as Bali or maybe at the moment Sulawesi and the earthquake. But Indonesia is an economic powerhouse. It's got a growth of 5% per annum. We'd love to have that in Australia. Indonesia's got a long history of mining, an experienced workforce, experienced contractors, businesses and consultants that know mining. The economy is rapidly growing, infrastructure is being developed, and the whole business community is in growth phase. The economy is very stable, and the government is very mature and stable, and the regulatory environment is very mature and stable, despite what you might hear down the pub or anywhere else. None of the permitting or approvals that we need to do for this project are any different to what you have in Australia. So it is a very great mining jurisdiction, and we would argue that it's a jurisdiction that is of a lower risk environment than other places in the world. And the government is very supportive of the work that we do. So at the moment we're valued about $23–25 million on the share market. That's our market cap. But when you compare us against our peers, we're very low pricing. Today our share price is about 19 cents, Patterson's have put out a research note that targets our pricing at 50 cents. So we see that we're very good value, and we see that our role at the moment is to bring that value on board as we develop the project. So to summarise, the project is long life, low cost, ready for development. It's going to bring strong cash flows forwards. It has absolutely excellent potential and really offers advantages of additional production and mine life to the project as we develop that exploration. We own 100% of the project, and we have long tenure and secure investment. So our key strategies at the moment are very clear. Bring on some strategic partners and look for funding, accelerate our exploration, and drive recognition of the project value into our share price to reward our shareholders. Thank you very much.